we are at this just very interesting time. Things are getting incredibly easier, but at the same time, it's like it's also getting foggier. Like,
Yeah.
where is it going? What can it really be like? And it's like, just hold on, let's watch, let's see
Well, and let's create it together. I
together.
mean, at the end of
Love
the
it.
day, this isn't the weather. Like we get to say in how it gets used.
Yes,
Yeah, 100%.
love it.
Well, and here's the last question. Uh, how big of a prepper are you? Are you a doomer on this, or do you see a hopeful future where we all are just skating on an amazing UPI?
I think none of the above. I think it's going to be like everything else. It's going to make changes. Society is not going to collapse. We're going to find work for people. We absolutely will. This idea that, and an assumption that is in there. I'm really glad you asked that. People have talked about AI as if it's going to be general. I'm sorry, I know the lab guys have to say that, the open AIs and so on. I think they're radically underestimating how good the human mind is at dealing with new things and being literally general. I think we're going to have superhuman AI just like we've had superhuman calculators. And it's going to be amazing at some things and remarkably dumb at others for as long as I can think of. I think their use of the term general intelligence is just really narrow. And I think instruction is such a good illustration of how that's not true. Think of all of the implications that a PM, like something happens and they're immediately saying, well, that's going to happen and that's going to happen, and I got to call that guy and got to go, make sure they have whatever. That sort of complexity, it's not just knowing what might happen, but it's knowing what's important and why it's important and the personality of the person you got to call first because God forbid, you know what I mean? Like there's just knowing that, and that's the reality of the economy, whether it's in construction or somewhere else, is it's a lot of people making decisions under uncertainty based on what they had for breakfast. And only a human can really manage that. And I think AI can absolutely empower it. It can automate certain steps. And the final thing I'll add that we didn't talk about is being in the work is part of getting the work done. So this implication that you can automate everything implies that humans were just approving stuff, or just running through steps, but they didn't think along the way. Doing things makes you're being creative while you're, even if it's in small ways. Being in the work is the only way that you can approve certain types of work. So, just having the human in the loop be an approver at the end, there's going to be processes where that's appropriate. I think people overestimate how many of them there are. So having AI serve things up to you, explain things to you, maybe give you a different view of something, maybe it's a graph, it's a whatever. I think that's going to be way more powerful than people think. I think giving a decision maker unique or new ways of seeing information is going to be super powerful because we're way better at being visual than we are at being numeric or textual.
Yeah.
But automating humans out of it is a mistake that I think a lot of fortunes are going to be lost trying to do, because who's going to hang their hat? Would you approve something you weren't part of making? Well, it depends on what it is, but there's a lot of things where if I wasn't in it, I don't know. Like a spec writer, forget it. There's no way they're going to say, "Hey, it looks right. Those 1,000 pages read perfectly to me."
Whose risk? Who
That's
absorbs
right.
that risk?
That's right.
I love that. I mean, it's like we still need the man in the arena, and we're just arming the man
That's
in the
right.
arena with
Arming
some
the
better
man
tools.
with. So I'll end by saying I love this stuff. So if any of your listeners just want a half an hour, I love talking about it, and I love where people are versus where I might be. I just learn a lot from talking to folks. Not every technology is the same, and I think talking about adoption of technology in a broad sense can be a little bit misleading, because things that are clearly written or created for the office really struggle when people aren't in the office. And we saw that 10 years ago when, essentially accounting software was put on mobile. Other things, though, like find the other industry that, other than maybe oil and gas, that uses drones like construction does, or uses reality capture, or uses 3D modeling. They exist, but it's pretty rare, and there aren't a lot of accountants that do that. So for sure, there are some structural and some kind of individual reasons why a lot of software and a lot of technology struggles in construction. One of them is that you don't have a CIO just buying for the company. Like, that's hugely different. But I think AI is a little bit different because people are using the chatbots at home. They're using, like, no one uses Procore to figure out what to do this weekend.